So we're sliding back. We're going to get our stretch started right today with just the wall. We're going to be up against it. So up against the wall, our low back, our bottom up as close as we can, shoulders back. We're just going to bring our hands back, really bringing those shoulders back into the wall, nice and wide. So you're kind of in that freeze position. And we're just going to actually push our hands, our head, our arms back, our elbows back into the wall, working those back muscles and helping that stretch. You might feel that stretch down through your lats, in the middle of your back, kind of behind your neck. Remember, try to keep your chin down and your head stationary against the wall. So right there, we're just kind of pushing into that. Then we're going to go up into a wide V with our hands nice and wide, pushing our hands back. You might feel a stretch into your shoulders in this a little bit, but we're also working the strengthening. So I'm really kind of trying to strengthen the back side of my back and my neck to help my posture upright. So when the muscles in the back are stronger, it takes some of this tension from our chest that are pulling our shoulders back to help us stretch it a little bit better. So we're trying to work through that nice wide V, pulling back, stretching into that, and just relax, drop the shoulders down, let them fall for a second, and just completely collapse forward. We're going to roll back up nice and slowly, head back against the wall, arms back against the wall, pushing in, sliding them up, and just driving them back as far as you want. Depending on your flexibility, the further you can get your arms up, the little bit more of a stretch you'll get. But make sure your hands stay against the wall and they don't come away from the wall if you go too high. So right there, pressing back, driving those elbows down into your back pockets, feeling the shoulder blades come in and together, then just relax back down again, collapse, fall, round through it, and we'll go one more time. So we're going back up to our posture alignment, shoulders, head against the wall, push back, reaching high up, stretching the arms, the shoulders, the back. Wherever you are the tightest, you'll feel it the most. So try to play around with that, see where you're comfortable. And we're just going to work right in there. Now I'm going to push my head into the wall a little bit too, just a little bit of pressure, nothing painful at all. Just right there, really get a nice stretch up through the middle of my neck as well when I do that. Bring the elbows down into those pockets, elbows into the back pockets. Feel the back come down and tight together, and just relax the shoulders. So just doing that a couple times already, I feel a much more natural position here. So from there, we're going to get into the neck. So we're just going to drop the right ear to the right shoulder, use our hand, and just give a little bit of a tug, nice and easy. And we're just going to do some nice soft stretching today. So we're just going to relax into that. My hand's just applying a little bit more pressure so my right ear can go towards my right shoulder. Just relaxing into that. Head stays against the wall, my shoulders are against the wall, so I'm still holding that good posture, teaching my body to be in a good posture while I'm stretching. Then I'm going to drop my nose down towards my armpit, keeping my head against the wall. That stretch kind of goes from the back a little bit more out to the side. Just kind of relax into that. Key of this one is not to let your head fall away from the wall. It does naturally tend to want to come, but keep holding it there at the same time you're bringing it towards your armpit. And relax, come back to neutral. And we're going to do the same thing on the left side. So the left ear goes to the left shoulder. Just going to drop into that. Right, nice, deep into that. Hang out there, the head stays forward. Remember, I want to keep my chin in, looking straight ahead. Shoulders back against the wall. Head stays against the wall. Make sure your low back hasn't creeped away from the wall either. So sometimes you have to reset yourself and scoot your bottom back in. And hold that stomach in nice and tight so there's just a little bit of pressure between your low back and the wall, or there's a little bit of room there, sorry, that you can slide your hand in. And from there, we're going to drop down again. I think nose to that armpit, left armpit. Keeping your head back against the wall. Like I said, I often come forward sometimes too, but ideally, I want to teach my body to stretch the nice long in the neck. So if I keep my head back, that stretch will be a little bit different. Kind of a deeper stretch into the deep neck flexors. Or extensors, sorry. Relaxing into that, pulling that chin down, and relax, and bring it back to center. From there, we're going to go arms back into that freeze position. And we're just going to kind of work through our shoulders a little bit. So our hands are going to be, our elbows and our shoulders and our hands are all the same level, kind of like a tabletop. And from there, I just want you to practice rolling those hands back and forward. We're just going to keep going through this motion. You should feel the shoulder blades kind of roll down and in, or some internal or external rotation in the shoulders. So we're just going to kind of work through some shoulders this way right here. Trying to see if you could flatten out your shoulder blades against the wall when your hands come up against it. Because we're going to go from our next stretch is we're going to try to see if we could pin our shoulder blades flat against the wall. So from there, get that shoulder blade nice and flat against the wall. I think let's take the right arm across, pulling that shoulder. You don't want it to come away. You want to keep that shoulder blade flat into the wall and then pull across your body with the right arm. Often this is pretty mild stretch for most people, but if you focus on keeping that shoulder blade in the right spot, sometimes you might get a little bit more. And we'll switch to the left, so make sure that shoulder blade's nice and flat again, coming in and pulling that left arm across the body. Depending on the person, sometimes you might feel the stretch in the back of the shoulder, in the front of the arm, or even kind of between the shoulder blade and the neck. So it depends on your flexibility and your range of motion. Right there. Now let's go back to working through those shoulders a little bit more. And we're going to, from here, we're actually going to end up trying to see if we can stretch through the lats, the kind of the wings of the back. So from there, you're going to go there, reach up nice and high, stomach comes in. And your goal is to bring the hands up as high as you can, but try to keep them against the wall. So mine start to leave the wall probably about there. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to come back down and back up to those. So I'm just going to kind of work through that. Keep it moving. Nice and easy. Keep it moving. This one we're going to come up and we're just going to stay there. Then I'm going to take a little bit of pressure off so my hands could come wide. Bring my hands down nice and wide, pressing the backs of my palm or the back of my hands against the wall. Now I'm going to push my chest forward while the hands press into the wall so my back muscles really fire up. Shoulders are opening up. It might be burning a little bit in the shoulders because they're working, holding your arms up. Those weigh a lot more than we think sometimes. Right there, and just let it relax all down. Come off the wall just a little bit. Shake it out, see how it feels. You feel a lot of the muscles in the back actually have turned on and triggered on. So even when you scoot a little bit away from the wall, now sitting up feels a lot more natural because I've taught my body, pull back, use those back muscles. They're already engaged, they're excited. So coming a little bit away from the wall, we're actually going to go into a little bit more of a chest stretch. So same thing, whether you like your legs crossed or out in front. We're going to interlace the hands behind the back, back up real high, and reach those hands up. So your goal's here, reaching those hands up high as you can, stretching through the chest, knee arms, heads back, chins in, postures up nice and tall. We're kind of keep working on that posture the whole time through our stretch. And we're just going to work through that, pulling those hands up as high as you can. Then relax, let them come down, fold, and just back up again. Body should now, again, like I said, it should actually go back to that natural. It wants to be taller. We've worked those back muscles. They're excited. So from there, we're going to take our hands and reach way back and come forward. We're just going to try to work through stretching our chest like that. So your hands are just kind of open and closing nice and wide. Reach way back each time, stretching the chest and come way back each time. This time we're going to take our hand, we're going to put our right hand against the wall, or left if you turn that way, and think, plant it and turn away from it. So now that stretch is coming through my chest, through my arm. Just working through that. I'm doing a little bit of rotation, or if you feel too much tension in your back, just turn your legs. So it's just your arm that's back. It's not so much of a torso twist. Wherever you're comfortable. Now we're going to switch sides. I'm just going to rotate a little bit. Put my left arm up against the wall. I'm up nice and tall, holding that posture and trying to figure out, okay, how far do I have to turn away from the wall to feel the stretch through my chest? I want to feel it right through my left side of my chest, and or even my left arm. Sometimes in your biceps, in the front of your arm, or even your forearm, you might feel it. So right there, pushing my left shoulder forward out, my right shoulder's coming back to help maintain posture. You're up nice and tall, stretching through that. Holding right there. And relax. Now shake out those arms. Just kind of move them around. Feel the muscles of the back have contracted. They're ready. They're open up as well. So from there, we're just going to go into our lower back. So this one, you're actually going to go, the bottoms of your feet are going to come together, not real tight, actually a little bit further away, and you could actually bring them apart about, I don't know, 5 to 6 inches, whatever's kind of comfortable. Grab on and just kind of collapse right through your legs, trying to bring your nose towards your heels and in front. So the feet aren't in tight, they're out in front, and just kind of collapse in there. You could use your hands as anchors to help pull you a little bit away. You might get a stretch a little bit in the groin, the hamstrings, and or low back. So our goal is here to hit kind of all those different angles in the posterior chain of our body. So from there, we're going to take the right hand and bring it over to the left foot. Get just a little bit of a twist, not much at all, just a little bit of a twist, reaching right there. And I might get a little bit more into my lats or my right side of my low back. Coming back to the middle nice and easy. Then I'm going to bring the left hand over and try the same thing on the right side. So pulling through, dropping as far as you're comfortable, letting that hand pull through. Coming back to the middle. This time we're just going to collapse all the way down, falling as far forward as you can. Nice deep breath here. Relax into this. Let it collapse. Then coming back up nice and slowly, rolling those shoulders back into that neutral posture again. So we're up nice and tall. So that should feel like that comes back a little bit more naturally. This time we're going to go into a 90-90 stretch. So we're going to kind of work around our hips a little bit. So basically my goal with this is every angle of my foot is 90. So I have a 90-degree angle in this knee and a 90-degree angle in the back knee. And the goal is I'm up as tall as possible. If you have to, use your hand back here to support, or you can rest your hands on the front foot and lean into that. So this one, you're going to get a little bit different stretches in through the hips, internal and externally, and just feel where that is. So the bottom of my left foot out front is actually equal to my left or my right shin, sorry. So right there, just falling into that, wherever you find that comfortable. And you might find different portions on your body. Find out, does it feel in your calf, kind of in your hamstring? It might be your left hip, it might be your right hip. It really depends. Every person's a little bit differently. And you'll notice as we switch sides, often they're quite different. Just because of our natural rotations. So let's switch sides. Let's go right leg out in front, 90-degree angle. We're up nice and tall again. Like I said, sometimes a hand on one side to help support is good. Every angle of my knee is 90 degrees, right there holding through. And depending on your posture and your hips and your tightnesses, this might be easier or it might be harder switching sides. Personally, I'm much tighter on this side. And unfortunately, the tighter or the more difference you have in this stretch, the more likely you are to have some low back pain. So we want to kind of work through this. Sometimes I'll try to do this side 2 times to 1, ratio 2 to 1 ratio to help hopefully improve this over time. So right there, like I said, if you're comfortable, you can reach up and grab. You can see I'm not quite as comfortable on this side. I get quite a bit different feeling of the stretch. This one I feel a lot more in my external hip here. So like I said, it's individual, but feel where you're comfortable. Relax into that. And coming back together, feet out in front, and we'll do one last fold and up actually. So we're going to go feet together, legs nice and straight. If you can, put your feet flat up against a wall or something to stop at a desk, anything. And you're just going to collapse down as far as you can. Open up nice and high, tall, reaching up as high as you can. Then collapse down again all the way. The shoulders can round. You could fall right into this wherever you're comfortable. Then coming back up again, nice and tall, reaching high and collapse into it again. Nice and easy. And we'll do one more. Reaching up nice and tall, chest high, head up, nice and good posture, reaching high, strengthening and lengthening. Then we're just going to contract and relax and fall right back into this one. And this is the end of our stretch today. So you can relax into this as long as you feel comfortable. Give it a good 30 seconds to a minute before you come out of this stretch. And just relaxing those calves, hamstrings, low back, they should all help open up. So thanks again for joining us with Starport Stretch Break, and we look forward to seeing you next week.